there. See. All right, cool. So we are live right now with Mr. Randy Cain, owner and driver of the Heep, HEEP, and owner of RC Automotive. Let's talk because there's going to be some folks that we're going to grab right out of the gate because that rig is insane. So, what's the fastest you've been in the Heep?
We a couple weekends ago we went down at Pueblo and went an 8-1, which is our personal best that we've been. We've been trying to get a 7-second pass, and I mean it's right there.
You just need some good air or
and that's
something.
You know what's crazy is the other day we were there it was all smoky and hazy and just hot and it did its best times ever.
That's crazy. Well, I see some folks are starting to get in, so if somebody will let us know that they can hear us fine and all that kind of stuff, that'd be awesome. I want to start out. I want to kind of give a little bit or you to give a little bit of the story of the Heep and kind of what started it, and then maybe like a 10,000 foot run of like to where you are now.
Okay, so we started on the Heep, or let's start back. So my best friend, my brother, I consider my brother, Jim, always been Jeep guys. So been wheeling, stuff like that. I had a harebrained to build a hot rod out of one. He had a Jeep tub and frame sitting in his backyard for years. And we decided to pick it up and started what we did. And we built it in 2015, and every year since it's just been, it's morphidited every year.
Has it always been LS?
It's Gen 1 small
really?
block,
Wow.
no LS here.
I completely missed that one. Dang.
Yep.
I was just looking at that huge turbo in there, and you know how it goes. Big turbos or big LSs generally. Yep. That's cool.
Nope. Always have been it's been a Gen 1 small block since we built it.
That's awesome. So
I need a big sticker that says no LS, not an LS. Power Glide with a gear vendor.
Oh, sweet. There was a conversation on one of the podcasts I was listening to that was discussing is it better to build like an 80 or do you go like Power Glide and a gear vendors?
So what brought us into that was the cost of doing the 4L80E and the length and the weight of it. I did the Power Glide, Shorty Glide with the gear vendor, only made it 3 inches longer than a normal glide.
Dang, that's crazy.
So it makes it pretty short still. Because my drive shaft, I think, is only like 22 or 23 inches.
Yeah. So how much longer I guess you probably would have been close to the same length as an 80 at that point then, right?
If what?
Like if you had gone 80 compared to the Power Glide and gear vendors.
I don't know what how long a 4L80 is.
Oh,
they're pretty big.
Yeah. Yeah. It's what we've got in my 66, and it's big and beefy.
And heavy.
Oh, yeah. You're not bench pressing that thing by yourself.
No.
You got to have a buddy under that.
I could undo the gear vendor and pretty much take out the Power Glide, just belly it out of there.
It
awesome. Looks tiny on the stand when I take it off with the gear vendor off of it.
I can only imagine because like the gear vendor, it replaces the output shaft housing, right?
Yes.
Or does it go on? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's crazy. No. So the Pro Mod, the Shorty Glide that I have is just a case of the Power Glide, and then the gear vendor goes on the end of it. So there's no shaft hanging out of the case of the gear or the Power Glide the way it is with the gear vendor now.
That's crazy.
So literally it's 3 inches longer than a normal glide.
That's awesome. What's that thing weigh? I mean, you don't have to tell me. You don't have to answer any 30, of these. These were not on the test.
Oh no, you're good. 33. I think it was almost 3,400 when we weighed it up at Bandamere for the PSCA race. I think it's like 33 something.
Man, I would have never figured that thing.
On race week with the hardtop on it, it was like almost 3,500.
That's crazy.
And we still were running like pretty good.
Now, pretty good. You won your class. You've entered Rocky Mountain Race Week twice, and you've won both times. That's insanity.
Yes, sir.
That's crazy.
So last year we did Outlaw Street last year, and ran it out and had fun with it, and then that's what got us hooked on Race Week.
Yeah, it's a blast. That's for sure. So let's get into some of that stuff.
It's our big deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you are you doing 2.0? I can't remember. I know it's one of the questions. I just can't.
No, sir.
Okay. So what is your typical? Too hard to get away for 2 weeks.
Yes.
I know, man. That's why I haven't done 1.0s, because it's like 1.0 family vacation, 2.0, just too hard.
It's hard to close the shop down for a week as it is.
So what do you guys mainly do at the shop?
General service.
Oh, cool. So you're busy.
Pretty much just general service shop. Yeah, for the most part. August and September gets a little weird just because of the school start, but other than that, we stay pretty busy.
That's cool. So yeah, if that's your bread and butter, it is hard to close that thing for sure. Hey, we're gone for a week. Have fun.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no money coming in.
Yeah, yep. Well, no, there's a ton of money going out that week because you're out on the road.
Yes, there was.
That's awesome. We got a bunch of folks over here. So we got Miss. Go ahead. So we got some folks chopping in here.
It's you plan ahead.
Yeah,
that's my wife.
Oh, nice.
Jonathan.
Hi, Mrs. Cain. I'm sure you know Jonathan from several other race weeks. Justin Chestnut has a wicked blown second gen C10, super cool truck, and just got a 29 hot rod back and just moved down the street from Cletus. So it's a pretty interesting setup there.
Heck
and then Jimmy Timmy here says we're watching. So
that's my brother, and that's family forever.
Oh, nice. Well, cool. Well, we certainly appreciate that.
That's where the Jeep started from. That's where the tub and frame came from to start the Heep.
I saw a picture as I was digging through your Facebook page. Excuse me, and it was the Heep and like a rock bouncer crawler looking rig.
That's Jim's Jeep.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that's a pretty big disparity between those two.
Yes.
So you run so in Rowdy Radial, it's like a 26.85 tire, right? It's a small tire, right? What's he have on that Jeep?
I think 42s or 44s.
Yeah. So it's a pretty funny picture. I wish I had grabbed it and we would put it up on the screen. If they don't, I'm sure they can dig around on your RC Automotive Facebook page and find it. So, all right, what's a typical prep look like from your normal, like the Heeps in the garage to getting ready for race week? What's the prep look like for it?
I'm pretty well ready before the end of the year, every year, damn near. So this year we're waiting to pull the motor out. So we're going to freshen the motor up this year because it's been two plus seasons on this motor. Wow. So we'll probably pull the motor out this year, freshen it up, and get everything ready for next year.
Man, that's crazy. And you run that thing a bunch and drive it a bunch, not just race it, but drive it a bunch.
Yes. We have 55 or 5,600 street miles on it right now since we built it in 19.
That's what's up, man. That's awesome.
We drive it.
Well, and I think that's what people have found out more about, like just race week and drag and drive stuff, is that like these things can live. You just have to do that extra little bit.
Right.
So
we
now go ahead.
So originally it was a nitrous build, and you really couldn't street drive it that much. And when we started thinking about doing the turbo setup, was it had to be streetable where we could drive it and do Rocky Mountain Race Week, Power Tour type deal, the drive and drag stuff.
Yep. So how much
And
nitrous were you
we hit it
spraying
on
then?
the old motor. I think we were spraying like 200 at the most.
Oh, that's a nitrous motor, but it's
But
not
I've never
like,
been. No. And I ran in the 10s. We got it into the 9s, like mid 9s with the nitrous, and then did the turbo motor, and it went deep in the 8s right off the bat.
you were like, this is where it's at. This is where it's at. This is life right here.
Yes. Well, it's the fuel's cheaper running E85 and maintenance. It's not as hard on the motor running lower compression and not as heavy duty, or the valve. It's easier on the valve train.
Mm-hmm.
The
that's
can
for sure.
that was in the nitrous motor was pretty rowdy.
Well, and like Billy Godbold talked about it when he was on, he's like, this boost stuff can live so much better because you don't have to have such a radical cam. It's not like the valve train can easily live, and it's a lot more streetable. You're not the overlap or the non-overlap is just crazy on either direction of that. So
right, and good parts.
That's awesome.
I mean, definitely. Yeah. I went into it knowing it needed killer valve train parts, and we've been pretty good and pretty lucky. Carry spares just in case.
Right. So, man, I don't even want you to have to give into some info, but like, what size cam goes in a small block to run like a low 8? Do you think you'll see a 7 this year before the end of the year?
I'm probably done for the year. I don't know if we'll make it back out this year. We're actually in the middle of packing up and putting our house on the market, so it's been a little hectic with that. But that 8.1 put us right there, so we were pretty close. But
yeah,
I figured it's there. I know it's there, but I just we've been pushing our luck. We want to tear it apart before something breaks, so figured why not? It's a good time to take a break and get it fixed. And
well, and ending the season at an 8.1, I mean, that's pretty awesome. And then are you guys staying? Go ahead. I was going to say that talk about the time, and then I'll ask if you're moving far away. Like, are you staying close? Have you found a bigger, better setup? What do you?
So we haven't decided 100% where we're going. We've been looking out of state. We're definitely going to end up out of state. Either Arkansas, Tennessee is where we're wanting to go. But
hey, don't you threaten me with moving to Arkansas?
I've never lived anywhere else. That's the bad part.
Oh,
I was born and raised here, so I'm ready for a change.
That's cool. Well, if you end up in Northwest Arkansas, we're definitely a huge group of folks. Stone Cipher lives down the street. I mean, it's a good bunch of people. So if that, and then there's big companies that headquarter here that would, I don't know what you're into, but shops are always needed here, especially performance shops if you want to get into some of that stuff. Right. All right. Let's get into it. So let's talk about 2021 1.0, and then let's get through kind of some of that stuff, tell all the high points of it, and then I'd love to talk about some other, like the 2020 race week and all that kind of stuff. So I think on the first one here, I have how many drag and drive events have you competed in so far?
We've done 2. We did 1.0 last year and 1.0 this year.
Nice.
So 2021.
And then I have here favorite all-time Rocky Mountain Race Week story. Now, if you've done 2, that means you have good ones. And we're going to get into some of those for 1.0 here in a minute.
I have the craziest luck, bad luck, whatever you want to call it, story. Day 1 at Bandamere, we had the hood blow up at 160 plus mile an hour and shattered a windshield.
That's a little, I would think that would be pretty scary because you're, seeing and then not seeing.
And the crazy thing is 1320 had a camera in it when it happened. So it's all over the internet. So, but it
awesome.
was, I mean, the scariest. I mean, I don't know how I stayed calm, but it was the scariest thing I've ever had happen at the track.
That's crazy.
And we've
I
had
can't even imagine.
some pretty hairy stuff, but right at the end
so,
of the track too, right as I passed the tree or the lights.
God.
And it
so
took out the hood, wrapped it over the hood.
Oh,
go ahead.
God. So at that point, did you just do like everybody else and go hoodless the rest of the week?
I did. We were scrounging to find a windshield for the next morning. We literally had somebody at the hotel at like 9 o'clock the next morning putting a windshield in it so we could get on the road to get to Kearney, Nebraska.
That's awesome.
And we finished the week with no hood.
Red Hat said from all go to no go. That would be like instant brake jam.
Yes. That's the scary part is don't touch the brake. I didn't really know what to do because it was,
I mean, yeah, I guess at that point,
it's not something you think about.
Right. And so, instantly I would think, oh man, I'm jamming the brakes, but yeah, you probably don't do that in case it pulls one way and then you're in the.
That's what happened is I kind of jabbed the brakes. It really doesn't show it, but I kind of was like, oh crap. And it felt weird. So I just literally let off the gas, let off the brake, was looking out the passenger side, trying to watch the wall to see where it made sure I stayed in my lane and just come to a stop.
That's insanity, man. I can't imagine it coming up at that. So what have you done differently? Like you get stronger hood pins? Like, is it hood pinned? Is it latched? How does the hood?
So it did have hood latch, the factory latches on it from day one of building it. And I don't know how many passes, tons and tons of passes, years of passes. And finally it ripped them off. I mean, it literally ripped the tops right off of them. So now we put new ones of them on. I did a set of arrow catch hood latches in the hood and then reinforced the safety latch on the factory hood.
Oh, nice.
That
makes sense.
I don't see it ever. I don't see it ever coming off again.
Man, that's wild. I can't imagine that 160 and then it's like, now was it daytime or nighttime?
It was day. So just instant, just blacked out. Just, bam.
Jonathan Stonecipher has it best here. He says, I couldn't imagine going 162 in a Jeep besides the hood in your face.
Right.
What is the wheelbase on that crazy thing?
I think we're at like 95 and a half inch wheelbase right now.
How much of a wheelie?
I think we moved the front end. Bad wheelies. Like I can't turn it up very much off the hit or it's on the bumper.
That's cool. Wheelies are really cool for spectators.
Yes, it's hard on parts. So we did a race, was it 19? I did a race in 2019 down at Pueblo, and we took a guess on it and played with the ramp a little bit. And it pulled the wheels at just before the 8th mile and carried them like 4 feet in the air.
That's nuts.
So, yeah, and when it came down, it bent the axle, grabbed the fenders. Yeah.
What front axle do you run in that?
Just a Speedway Motors 4-inch drop tube.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know if you would do that or like the Cherokees had that 2-wheel drive front tube thing. I didn't know if you do that setup.
Yeah. Yep, I've seen them. No, originally it used to be like gas style raised up in the front a little bit. It was higher. And then the faster we went, we wanted to get it lower. So I did a drop axle. And then it was on leaf springs in the front until a couple years ago. We did coilovers and hairpins, and we get a bunch of grief about our front end on this thing.
I mean, come on now. You get it, like, just show them the time slip and be like, there's your grief.
Well, so awesome. Some of our true street classes, we got kicked out of some of our true street classes because it's not factory style front suspension.
Okay, listen. Like that front suspension is going to make it go faster.
No, sir. I'm handicapped. It doesn't matter what front end is in it. The Jeep's handicapped with the wheelbase.
I can only imagine. I think I saw one picture with like some wheelie bars on it, but I would think all that's going to do is just let it ride the wheelie. It's just you're going to keep it in the air the whole time.
So we tried the wheelie bars with the nitrous setup, and we always had some weird issues going on with the rear end. We'd unload the rear suspension. Well, come to find out, that style wheelie bars don't work with leaf spring.
That happens.
So it literally, when it would plant the ass end, it would unload the rear end.
Man, that's crazy. So I guess that's probably another big benefit of the turbo setup is just being able to ramp in the power like that.
Yep. Yeah, we leave on like 8 pounds, maybe just over 8 pounds of boost at the most. And any more than that, it just wants to pick the front end straight up.
That's cool. All right, so we've got your favorite story. How about let's move to like favorite day during the week?
They're all fun. The last day, seeing I think the worst day is the last day. Just that's when it seems like it really gets competitive.
Everybody's back at the track. They're like, okay, now we can turn it up. We've made the week.
Yeah, and stressing.
Right. And then I think so 1.0 this year, I was watching some of the Mac TV videos, and I think Boo talked about it a little bit too. You guys were like out in front, but they were fighting for who was going to be second and third big time. So how was that to watch from the front?
It was a little scary because I was like, man, anybody could knock us out. I mean, some of the passes I've seen the truck and Boo were making, I'm like, oh crap. I figured if it got that close, I might have had to really try and make a fast pass.
What was your average going into the last day?
I don't remember. What did I win? 551? 552? No, what we won with race week? I think it was in the 5.5s.
That's crazy.
So it was close.
Yeah, because they weren't far behind.
No. I've gone faster than that here at our home track, and that was what was crazy. Even last year, my average, I went faster here than I did for my average, but I played it safe for a few days and was really not trying to beat on it too much.
Well, and again, that's what everybody that has not competed in one of these that is watching right now, you have to understand. You have to make the week. Like, you can't put it on kill every single day, every single pass.
I've never put this thing on the tune that's in it now. It's never been on kill anyways.
That's crazy. So was there a was there a day where you were one and done, just one pass?
I think most of them. I only think I made a couple passes at a couple different tracks. Last year it was almost one and done every day.
God, dude, you are such a badass. I hope people understand that, because like to enter and make the week for your first time is great. To enter, be competitive, top 5 even in a class that competitive is a great, and make the week is a great thing. To enter, win, make the week, kick everybody's ass, that's craziness. It's crazy.
I feel very blessed by it, because little stuff, I mean, yeah.
Yep. What's funny is, George talks about, I plan on entering my C10 in race week next year. My initial goal was to take our first gen C10, my 66, for 1.0 next year with the guys from 815 LSX Swaps with Eric. And then Jonathan Stonecipher, in his deviousness, has given me a project that I haven't even posted pictures of yet. And I still haven't even picked up from his place that I intend to this weekend, that we're going to take, and it will make the cart look like a play toy. So we're going to have so
There
much
you
fun
go.
for 1.0 next year. It's going to be really, if you think the kart's dumb, this thing's going to be mega dumb. It's going to be a lot of fun.
No, that's the point, though, is to be different.
Oh, 100%. And that's probably one of the things I think that makes the Heep so cool is that one, it's fast, but then two, like you just don't see many Wranglers or CJs or whatever body style that is. I don't know, done like that are super fast. Usually they have a small block. Maybe they're, kind of a street strip setup, but like that thing's fast and cool as hell.
So the guy that has the record right now for the fastest Jeep is down in Florida. And I think Bob's been 780s, but he's at sea level.
So what I'm hearing is you've got to figure out a way to get the Heep to Florida. And we need to see some grudge racing.
Right. Well, actually, I think there's 3 or 4 that are pretty fast ones. And I think I've always thought about it, and we've always talked with my buddies. It'd be nice to meet somewhere in the middle, like Texas or something, and have all the Jeeps with a shootout.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That would be awesome. A fast Jeeps, that would be.
Because I got a few friends on Facebook that I friended. They've got Jeeps elsewhere that are hot rods, and it's pretty cool to see. I'm not the only crazy dude that had the idea.
Right. Well, and it makes sense. I figured that thing would have been like low 2000, 22, 2300, 2400 pounds, something like that. I wouldn't have thought it would be that heavy.
Yeah, it's always been a pig. We originally started with it's all DOM, and we only had an 850 cage. So if I'd have known the idea was to make it go this fast, we probably would have done chrome ollie and at least lost a couple 100 pounds.
Yeah. Well, and again, who would have ever thought you'd have gone from like a 10-second nitrous setup to, out of the box, it's an 8-second.
Yeah.
Justin says, I want to say the Mel Jeep is here.
Right.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
How
about favorite?
We can drive to dinner.
Yeah, and that's the benefit of all this stuff is like you build this stuff to drive. A lot of guys build race cars and play with them 10 times a year. Like these rigs, man, you see people all over the place. Tom Bailey. Right. I mean, dude, that guy drives that thing all the time. How about favorite track of 1.0 2021?
I'm probably going to say Pueblo's our favorite track. It's our hometown, what I call my hometown track. It's just our favorite. I mean, there's a lot of people that talk crap about it, but it's the track we love.
That's awesome. It's your go-to, what you're saying, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I'd prefer it over Banamere. I mean, Banamere is gorgeous track, and don't get me wrong, but Pueblo's it's just, we love it.
Right.
Not to say that any of the other tracks weren't bad, but Pueblo's our hometown. Of course, our hometown track.
Well, and I mean, that's, got to pick a favorite. And then what about like other people's cars that were your favorite?
So I got a funny story about that. So last year, Chris Pageant's 55 wagon he didn't have the turbo in it last year. And I tried to trade him. What was it? Day 2? I think it was day 2. I tried to trade him like, let's go. I'll trade right now. And I just love that car.
That's awesome. Any others stick out in your mind?
I think his kids would be upset if I traded. There's a lot of beautiful cars. I mean, Boo's car when he painted it blue was just, I fell in love. I mean, I'm not a Ford guy by any means, but that blue was badass.
Yeah, we can see you're kind of a blue guy. Like if you look, shirt, Jeep, I can see that color being one of your favorites. Yeah, that car was awesome.
When he painted it, it was like, man, the 2 colors.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
It changed that entire car. Like it went from being a Mustang to like, oh man, talking about standing out in the crowd.
Yeah, very much.
Yep. And then he sold it the other day and then bought a car. So now he's 4th gen Camaro family. So it'll be interesting to see what that setup will do.
So you want to hear another funny story about that? Is the guy that bought his car was talking about buying my Jeep not that long ago.
It's the color. That dude loves that color.
He was just wanting a turnkey race car.
God, that's wild. Man, that's what I need to do. I need to quit building stuff. I just need to buy stuff. That'd be easier.
Cheaper, I hear.
I don't know about that. Maybe. All right, let's talk about people, because the next one is like favorite person of 1.0 2021. But I mean, obviously we would typically say everybody that's there, but like there's got to be some folks that stand out in your mind.
So Chris Paget and his boys last year was that's made our day seeing his kids. This year it was kind of nice to see. So the Cisnero brothers or Cisnero family, they're buddies of ours and family here in town, and it was nice to see all of them, Eddie and Sal and Tommy and everybody and Rachel all spent the week, and it was cool for them because they're guys we race with on a regular, and they support us, we support them. And then Jason and the Meltdown Firebird, we met him a few years back racing in some of the stuff at Pueblo, and me and him's got some crazy stories, and seeing the diehard stuff that him and Peyton have went through to keep going on race week has just been, I mean, they're awesome people.
Yeah, I think he would make a great guest.
Jason Hurley would absolutely make a good guest. Some of the stuff he's been, I mean, last year on 2.0 with, we were laying in bed and watched him hit the wall, and the stuff that's broke this year and watching him put main bearings in the pits. And it's just, I mean, he's diehard.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm that diehard.
Well, and that's the one thing. It's like, man, like these guys it's awesome to watch. You'll be cruising through a parking lot somewhere of a hotel, and like they've got the top half of the motor pulled apart. We were with the 301 guys and 2.0 last year, and Carlos had a rocker or something, and they're changing it, and like there's 10 cars pulled over on the side of the road, and we're playing with these donkeys or llamas or something back in the field behind it. I mean, it's a great time. So it's
Mike Sleeper had valve train issues.
Yeah. Yep. And then I think Joel had some stuff in 1.0 this year. I mean, like it's hard on parts,
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about favorite gas station or restaurant, and then I want that to lead us into how you guys handle eating.
So Brahms would be our favorite restaurant, and it's a little fast food restaurant that we don't have here, and it's every time we've went, that's where we went back.
Yeah, I have 2 Brahms in town, and that's why I had to drop 25 pounds because I'd cruise through and grab me a sausage biscuit in the morning. It's dangerous.
I'd be in trouble if there was one local.
Yeah, it's bad. Any spots where you stopped along the routes that you were just like, man, this was a cool spot?
Not really. What was the restaurant in Kearney? Callahan's on the lake, or Cunningham's on the lake. We went last year, and then we tried to go this year, and they were closed right as we were walking up to the door.
Oh, dang. You're like, no, let me in.
Yeah, so
please.
then we ended up. So then the bad thing is we were all starving and went to the gas station and spent like $50 on gas station junk food and had alcohol and nachos and cupcakes and beef jerky. I don't remember what all we had, but it was horrible.
Yeah, that's real dangerous, especially like in the heat you guys had the next day. I can only imagine what that was like in the Jeep.
Oh, it was bad.
Like,
well,
no.
And then the bad thing is I got them four packs of margaritas and drank them in like 10 minutes. So by the time I ate all that junk food and that, I was like, I was done.
Oh man, I can't imagine just laying in the hotel. So now, do you guys camp? Are you hotel folks? You want air conditioning in the shower? What do you got?
A hotel.
It's
My
the
my
only way to do
co-pilot
it.
wouldn't let us do any. Yeah, my co-pilot, the wife, wouldn't let me do it any other way.
That's awesome. Yeah, my wife said she's never going to go on one with me, so I don't have to worry about that. But I do know that I want a shower, even if it's at 11 o'clock at night or midnight or 1, and then I want to just crash. I want to crash into bed.
Yeah.
I think it would be
So it was
fun
funny.
one
So
year.
last year,
Go
with
ahead.
what?
Well, I was just saying,
What
I think
would be
it'd be
fun one
fun.
year?
It'd be fun one year to like see just how cheap you could, like, bum in a hotel room, like, buy food at Walmart, like keep a cooler, like how cheap you could do a Rocky Mountain Race Week. But then I'm like, God, I don't want to live through that. I don't want to participate in that experiment.
No, I wouldn't want to either. So last year when we finished, and I told the wife we were thinking about selling the Jeep. She's like, "Well, one way or the other, we're going to race week again." So, that must mean she likes going.
Yeah. Well, I think it's that she likes being that close to you for that long.
Maybe. I'd hope something, because this year was
Yeah.
horrible with the heat.
Oh, I can't imagine. And then, like, the top is black. So I can only imagine the extra heat that comes through. And I mean, was there any heat protecting against on the inside?
So the top did perfect for that. The heat didn't bug us from that. But what it is the street exhaust run the muffler down the side, radiant all the heat into the cage, and the whole passenger side of the Jeep, you couldn't even touch the cage.
Oh,
So then that
that's
just made it a
brutal.
sauna.
It's like a sauna in here. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, it was horrible. You would burn your hand touching the passenger side of the cage.
Wow. Now, did she do any of the driving while you guys were out?
I tried, but she didn't.
Oh man, poor Miss Cain.
She has yet to drive it.
What?
Oh no,
Well,
you did it once. No, you didn't, did you? No, she has never drove. I've tried. My daughters drove
man.
it. My teenage daughters drove it home from a car cruise.
That's nuts. Yeah, the wife's got to get in it. So my wife drove my truck, which has a welded diff, and she literally broke it. She drove it 3 miles and broke it. She said, "I'm never driving it. Never, ever. Don't ask me." I don't know.
That's crazy.
That's the way it works. Yeah, that's the way it works sometimes. So, all right, let's talk about food because we kind of led into some of the restaurant stuff there. Mainly during the week. Are you guys gas station? You restaurants? Are you trying to find somewhere, or do you just pack a whole bunch of stuff and carry it with you?
So we usually try to have a decent breakfast somewhere, depending on where we go. Most of the time we snacked for lunch, and then if we could find something decent for dinner, we tried.
Well, and the thing is, like 1.0, you have the drive days, which are nice, but then if you're one and done, like you're typically probably if you're not wanting to hang out and you want to go grab some dinner, you could almost be done by 8 o'clock at night, I would think.
Yeah, there was so yes. Okay, so here we go. So there was a couple of nights that we were done early, both times, both races. We were done plenty of time to go in and get good rest. We'd get a meal and we'd go back to the parking lot, and there'd be people there, and we would literally be out there till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, bullshitting and drinking beer.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what, like, even, we've done 2 power tours and the parking lot is the best spot to me because like everybody's in a good mood. It's car people hanging out with car people, talking about car things,
Yeah. We met Lewis from Crowder last year, so that was awesome. And then this year in Pueblo, I loaned tools out to a guy that were doing head gaskets in the parking lot. So I was like, if you need anything, come bang on my room.
Yeah, that's nuts, man. And there's a lot of that goes on. I mean, people torching heads, getting heads resurfaced at 3 o'clock in the morning on the sidewalk.
Right.
Just whatever it takes, And the funny part is, that may be 10 or 12 cars out of 300. And then there's like the other 50 that we don't touch anything. I don't even change the oil or spark plugs or anything in the cart, you know?
Yeah. I
So-
usually do an oil change midweek, and then I change spark plugs about the same time. And other than that, we didn't, maintenance wise, not much.
So do you have that made me think of fuel and like do you guys run are you E85 race and drive, or do you switch?
So we have a switch in our dash that I can switch from pump. I basically can run pump gas, and for the drives, we just put whatever we could get at the gas station.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to do it, because a lot of times, we're not on a major highway, so it's not like, especially for guys running E, it may be 300 or 400 miles or a day trip, 200-mile day trip before you get to the next E85 station.
Yeah, so I have a pump that I can pump fuel in and push it back in. So a two-way pump, basically. So I can suck the pump gas out and pump the E85 back in, and vice versa. And that's what we just do every, for the week.
Oh, nice. Okay, so let's talk about that. So do you have one tank you run with that setup then?
Yep.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. How much time does that add to, like, so sorry, I am like rambling because that's the question that came to my mind. So as you're driving, typically everybody stops every 60, 70, 80 miles, something like that, because somebody in their group needs to refuel. Like, does Lindsay do the math on like, hey, okay, we just put 10 gallons in, we're going to get to the track and we're going to be, we'll be lower, so it's not much fuel to pump out, so you can then put the E85 in to race on? Like, is that the kind of math that folks that have never done the event that need to be paying attention to?
Yeah, so we would fill up, we would watch how far we had to go to the track. So like I wouldn't fill the tank all the way full if we were getting close, and then just put just enough fuel in it to get us there. So I only carried like a 5-gallon jug to pump gas out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think there was times last year I gave fuel away because I had too much.
That's cool. I guess that would be the craziest part about it, because you wouldn't want to have two tanks, and you don't want to just rely on E85.
Right.
I don't know. We're not making the switch.
Yeah, I never wanted to do
the. Sorry, go ahead.
I never wanted to do the dual tank stuff just because it's more stuff to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, you're trying to figure out how to change fuels, and like, I think Jonathan Stonecipher has 2 tanks, but he would run like he would change lines once we got to the track and run, whatever fuel he was running. And so it just, you look in the trunk and there's this huge tank, just becomes a little harder. I should have asked him that while I was on, while he was on, was what his setup was, and the dual fuels and all that, but I didn't think about it.
Speaking of fuel, everybody's always said the cable drive stuff can't handle the street drive. It's been on cable drive since I did the turbo.
That's always a topic in the on the Rocky Mountain Race Weekers page is, cable drive, or are you running on both pumps, the fuel pump situation. But I mean, like, you've got to have a big cable pump to run that kind of time, I would think, for sure, right?
We've got an Outlaw 1000, MagnaFuel Outlaw 1000. So it's like 10.5 gallons a minute.
God dang, that's a bunch.
It's totally RPM based.
Oh yeah, so that would make, so everybody talks about, because like in the old truck and the cart, it's just on. Our pumps are just on. So with that setup, obviously if you're cruising, your typical drive RPM, I think, would probably be what, 2,800 to 3,500. I mean, is that fair guess?
No, I'm lower than that. 20, 24 to 26, 2,700.
Wow. Well, I guess yeah. I wasn't thinking about the gear vendors. So yeah, so you're not turning much RPM compare, in relation to how much fuel you're pumping, in relation to what
Yeah.
you're going to be running at the track at, high RPM
Yeah.
passes.
So the pump is rated at 50% of RPM of the motor. So if I'm running, I think it's rated at $8,000. So if I'm running under that, I mean, cruising around, it's not too crazy.
That's cool. And then,
What's up, Sal?
Jonathan says, just swap line and return line. It's a big pain in the butt. And then,
Right.
your buddy Cisneros Speedworks. That's the folks
Yep.
you're talking about earlier, right? Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yep. What
Bunch
you
of
missed,
badasses.
he was talking major shit about you guys. You'll have to go back and watch it. It was pretty great. All right. So the last
We
question
love them guys.
The last question I have on here is like go-to gas station food, which I think you kind of answered a little bit earlier. Nachos, cupcakes, beef jerky, but what is a staple you're going to get at the gas station and that sits in between you and the wife in the Heep while you're driving?
I'm a sweets fan, so licorice. I mean, I got a pile of licorice sitting here on the next to the laptop. Sweets like that. Beef
Nice.
jerky once in a while.
Yep, I'm a Sour Patch Kid, so I am a true believer in sweets while you ride. That's probably the most dangerous part for me, as far as like gaining weight. I'm on a trip. I'm like, oh yeah, it's fine. And you just sit there and you just eat the whole bag as you're cruising.
As hot as it was on this year, I don't think you could have gained weight.
Well, that's what Boo was saying too. He said that they went through a case of water every day.
We probably did that damn near the same.
That's wild to think about, and then you pee twice, you're like, where did all that water go?
Yeah.
And it just comes out and your clothes are, a different
Yep.
color at the end of the day, So, oh gosh. So that's the end of my questions, but we're only at 47 minutes and there's a ton of people that want to know the stories that you have. So let's get into some other stuff and we're just going to kind of wing it on this stuff. What are some of the other cars and things like that you've built?
I've had a lot of cars. So the Jeep is I've owned it the longest than out of every car or any car I've ever owned.
Wow. And you've had it 5 years.
So all my friends and family, we built it originally in 2015. So we're almost 6 years. So I've built a lot of toys. I've had V8 S10s. I had an Alter Dragster. I mean, we've had a lot of toys. I'll build them, play with them, and get rid of them. Well, I talk about getting rid of this, and then, for one, the wife gets really mad. My family gets upset. My friends are like, no. And then I'm like, my wife's the gatekeeper, so I can't sell it.
Nice.
I just love it. I mean, I built it originally because it was cool, and now I'm like, the kids love it. It's fun. It's different. I really enjoy the Jeep people getting bent out of shape over the Jeep.
See, and that blows my mind because, like, typically Jeep people are pretty cool until you lower it and make it go fast, and then they're like, "Wait a minute, Jeeps don't do that."
So there was a post on one of the local Jeep pages. Somebody seen us going. We went to the the 22 Mission 22 car cruise in Parker last year, and somebody took a picture of it as me driving down the road, and the caption says, "But why?" And I think it made like 400 posts.
Oh,
and
my
some
God.
were good, some were bad. It was horrible.
That's awesome. So the cart gets tagged quite a bit, and had the same thing. It's funny. People either are like, hell yes, or they're like, that guy is a total idiot.
Well, I get that with the Jeep. I'm like, so what? It's different.
Yeah. Yep. And it's fast. Like if it looked like that and was slow, it'd be different,
Yeah, it's different. I mean, and it's fun. I mean, it you don't miss it.
That's for sure. Well, and in a sea of like, first and second gen Camaros and Mustangs, it stands out for sure.
Well, see, and that's some of the classes we've raced in are Camaros and Mustangs, or it just it's that's not me. I mean, I've had a Monte Carlo, a full size SS Monte Carlo that I played with, heavy car. I mean, the S10. I mean, you see a lot of that stuff, and I'm like, when I built the Jeep, there's not another one like this anywhere.
Right?
No, nowhere.
Especially anywhere close. Like you were talking about the guy in Florida that's 780s. Like, I mean, that's a 2-day drive from you to even be close to that dude.
Well, and he's at sea level or below, whatever Florida is, probably below sea level there, damn near.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we're racing this here, and half the time the DA's 8 to 10,000 feet. So that's pretty crazy.
Yep. Tommy says there will never be another Heep.
So give a shout out to them guys. So we raffled off. So when the hood blew up last year, we had this kind of the same louver that's on the hood now. We raffled it off, and they went in on it together, and it's hanging on one of their garage walls. We donated the money to my grandson, and it's hanging on. We had it or pinstriped, and it's hanging on their wall. So them guys are awesome.
Cool. That's really cool. That's
yeah.
Cool.
We got a grandbaby that's got CF, and he's our little Superman.
Yep, man. I tell you. So there's a local buddy of mine that would ride his bike to keep it in check, and so he would ride from Northwest Arkansas to Central Arkansas, which is, I think it's like 200 miles or something like that on a road bike, and he would do that every year. And I did that for a few years with him, and man, those guys it's crazy. It's crazy. And to talk about CF for just a minute, like those kids, every time they go to the doctor, they tell them, oh man, another few years, and he's 35 or 36 now, so like technology's come a long way. Thank goodness.
That's awesome.
For CF stuff. But you talk about living your life thinking that's what you've got left, so he lives it to the fullest and rides bikes and has fun and builds hot rods and all that kind of stuff.
So my grandbaby was 6 months old when he was diagnosed.
Dang, it's wild, man. And
he's what, 14, 15 months now? He's 15 months old now.
That's awesome. Yeah, his name's Daniel Olnick, and it's the Ride to Breathe is Daniel's deal.
That's badass.
Yep. It's, and 200 miles on a bicycle is a bunch.
Yes.
It's a bunch.
I probably couldn't make it around the block right now.
Well, what's crazy is I mountain bike a lot, and those guys that, road bike and mountain bike are two totally different, animals. And those guys would just leave me and be gone, and I'd be back here just pedaling my little heart out,
Hey,
I want to say thanks to Dirt. Yeah, hey, you got to get out there. You got to pedal. Pedaling is good for your soul. Dirty Panda says he's glad he didn't miss out on the Heep. He was doing some body work on his 240, which his plan for that is to be at Race Week next year in that car. And he says he definitely loves your build. So
awesome. Thank you.
And he gave money, and we certainly appreciate that, because all of the money from this podcast or this live feed goes right to our Rocky Mountain Race Week fund. So
that's awesome.
We'll be able to do more if we get more type deal, so it's always a plus. Plus we get to tell cool stories with cool people. It's always neat to, it's funny because a lot of the stuff you've told, you would have told like your family and friends, but like the folks that have never been on Race Week or are going on 2.0, they need this info that you're dropping out there, especially if they intend to come compete against you, because it's insanity. Are you going to three-peat? Are you going to go 1.0 next year and back to back to back?
We're planning on it. The only problem is I think we're going to change classes, but I don't know which one.
Oh, well, hey, you've got a pretty good record so far, so I think you've got some planning figured out. That's for sure.
So it'll probably still be on the 26s, because I don't think I'll put any other tire back on it. because it's working on these little tiny tires, and I love the freaking looks that people give us when we are running what we are on a 26 850.
Oh, it's wild. So what do you drive on? What's your normal drive tire for the week, or during?
So I have a set of street tires. It's a 275/60.
Oh,
So
cool.
like a 20,
So
27, 28 inch tall tire.
yeah, that's a little bit different. Not much, not much.
Jonas says unlimited overall.
Dude, you're not far off.
Unlimited, or so this year when we first started thinking about what class to run, I was thinking Ultimate Radial, Unlimited, or Rowdy Radial. That was the three. And I'm like, shit, I'm going to go run the Rowdy Radial.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, that class is competitive and it looks like it's a ton of fun.
It was. But the bad part is I got to get into my head to not run a quarter mile.
How many times did you run 1,000 foot and then let out?
Maybe once, maybe twice. Most of the passes were out the back door.
That's all. You're like, wow, wait, hold on. I just burned extra fuel, dang it.
Yeah. Well, and then I get back there and the wife's like, you didn't let out. You didn't run the 8th mile.
You're like, hey, listen.
She still does that.
You just...
She does that here. She does that at her home tracks. You didn't let out.
Why would you? Why would you let out? Know. Especially, yeah.
I get it in my head. I'm like, go ahead.
I was just saying, what kind of mile an hour are you in? I mean, in the 8th, you're probably 130s.
Upper 130s. I think it went a 140. I think that this 8-1 that we just did, I think I broke into the 140s in the 8th. So I know for sure that could have been a 7-second pass. Aerodynamic. It's fighting me.
Yeah. You are like, it's like a brick, and then the windshield's a brick,
So there's a meme out there that I've seen a few times, and my buddies have shared it and all that. There's this thing with a cow showing the cow's more aerodynamic than a Jeep.
That makes sense. But there's no way to fix that. That's what you need to do. You need to like put some big aerodynamic piece on the front.
It's still got a flat windshield.
Yeah. There's no help. There's no hope for you.
It is what it is.
Yep. So if you did sell the Heep, what would you build?
The bucket list car is going to be a 55.
That's awesome. Like 2-door car, you going to do the wagon like what's his name?
I could get away with, so the idea, if I did a wagon, it'd have to be a 4-door, or if I did a 4-door, I could have a back seat for my grandbaby.
Yeah.
So it most likely, I mean, it'd be nice to have a 2-door, but it would probably be a 4-door.
That's awesome. So being that you're a grandpa, I'll ask you this. My dad always said that grandkids are way better than real kids. Is that true?
I don't know. We got some awesome kids.
That's he always said you could play with them and then give them back, and anytime they got fussy, you would just call the parents and they'd come get them. He's like, you can't do that as a parent. Like, you can't,
True. Yeah, I love my grandbaby. It's a whole new awesome. It's a whole new thing now.
Well, and then so how many kids do you have, and then how old's the youngest one?
We have 3, and we have almost an 18-year-old, almost 20, and 20, almost 27.
Oh man, so yeah, it's been a minute since you had a baby around a whole bunch, so that's always cool.
Oh yeah.
And my brother has a 4-month-old, and it's like, I don't even know what to do with this, and our daughter's 8.
Yeah. We FaceTime my grandbaby almost every day. So his name's Maverick.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he's grandpa's buddy, or Grampy's buddy.
Oh yeah. I was going to ask what your grandpa name was,
Grampy.
There you go. That's awesome. Nico
See you,
says,
Sal.
yeah, Nico says a wagon is the most ideal vehicle for race week.
So it's the big dilemma is a 4-door. It's got a 750 cage is pretty hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, and because like, who do you like? Do you protect everybody? You know,
Yeah, because no matter
that's
what I
why
build, it would have to be a 750 cert.
wow, that's awesome to have that already in your head. That like, hey, listen, we're not building anything that's not going to go real fast.
Well, I don't want to do it again. Like the Jeep's got, so we started out with an 850 cage in it, and then when we did the upgrade, it just added more weight and bars that are there that we probably didn't need from the get-go, but they're there. So I think I would just start from the get-go and say it's, do a 750 from the get-go.
Yep, that's crazy to think about. Dirty Panda says he has you on. So I guess he's talking about the live feed. He's got us on Facebook on the phone and YouTube on his TV.
Right.
That'd be hard to listen to. 4 of us, that'd be rough. Well, 2 of me, probably not hard to listen to you, but 2 of me would be rough. And then Tommy says he's a Team Maverick all day.
Awesome, buddy.
That's cool.
Good group of guys, man.
Well, and that's what's so cool about race car stuff is like so many guys from so many different aspects of life are car guys, and you can all be standing in the parking lot and everybody is a car person. It's not like, oh man, I can't talk to that guy because he's into this. It's, true car guys really like all stuff.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what it is. I mean, we go to the car cruise in Golden and you see we've seen some crazy things and some cool things, but you got to give it. That was their vision. So
yeah. Yeah. And the one thing is like, you didn't pay for it. So like, who cares what he does with this money?
Right. Well, it's my thing. I mean, it may not be our cup of tea, but neither is the Jeep.
Right.
Well,
cool. Well, dude, anything else you want to talk about?
Bring spare parts.
Oh, I didn't even think about spare. I'm adding that to the list right now because we talked about it a little bit with Stone Cipher. Yeah. So lead us into that for a second. I'm going to grab another beer. You start talking about spare parts.
So the biggest thing that I could tell anybody that's thinking about doing race week, and I've said it a few times when I see comments, is if you have something specific to your build that you cannot get at the parts store, you better carry one, because there's parts that, if you need it, you're dead in the water. We had a fuel pump go bad this year on a seal go bad, and it could have left us on the side of the road.
All right. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good.
So,
I
repeat all that.
basically said that if you have something specific on your build, you better carry a spare, like something you can't get at the parts store.
Yep. That was one of the stories that we went through with Jonathan stuff is, 40 millimeter gun drilled or whatever, big boy axle stuff in the back, nobody had one. Nobody in a timely fashion that we could, get to and come back and save him. So we ended up going to get the truck,
Yeah. See, so like this year, we lost a fuel pump seal in Estes right before Estes Park. And that's the first problem we've had with the cable drive and since we've had it. And it literally, a seal went bad on the fuel pump, filled the cable full of gas, and was spraying out the front drive all over the motor.
So you're like driving along, you're like, what is that smell?
We kept smelling it. And then when we pulled over for the checkpoint, it was like, oh crap, it was pouring gas out of it. So literally like 3/4 of a tank of gas, and I'm laying on, and that was another thing. It brought up a weak point that I need to fix or something to upgrade is I'm trying to unscrew a 12 AN laying on my back to put a plug in it. as gas is running down my arm and into my armpit.
Oh, yep. And on your back, and it's everywhere. And even though you've got a piece of cardboard to lay on, it's soaked in gas.
Oh, it was soaked.
Yeah.
I literally got rinsed off in the car wash in Estes Park.
Nice.
Our buddies was rinsing his car off, and I had him hose me off because pump gas stinks so bad.
Well, and after a while, it just starts. You get that like little bit of burn.
Oh, in your armpit for sure.
Yeah, and it's 107 outside. Yeah.
Yep. So that was, like I said, spare parts. I mean, we were probably over prepared for a lot more shit than most people are. I mean, I carry a lot of parts. I mean, we carry every spare sensor we have, axle bearings, water pump motor. I mean, I got a fan from last year. We had multiple people lose electric fans. So I got a spare electric fan because it's an 11-inch fan. You can get a 12-inch all day long.
Yep.
So there's a lot of parts that, I mean, it takes, and that's a big expense.
Yeah. Jonathan says you also have an awesome trailer. I was going to add, that was going to be my next question, was like, how imperative, because sorry, I'll start over. Why anyone would ever load all their shit in the car and go that way, I don't know. But everybody that's new, you think you're going to do that, just buy a trailer. Just get a trailer, because yard selling sucks.
Yes. So I don't know if you've seen my trailer, but I cut 2 Jeep tubs in half and molded them back together and made a Jeep trailer. So as much as we love the trailer, I have it for sale or been contemplating getting rid of it because I'm ready to find me an enclosed trailer. So the one thing that I was worried the most about, and we actually took them in the hotel room this year, was my race wheels.
Yeah. Well, and then that way you can load them up. You can lock them up.
Well, I was worried that would be the one thing that would take me out of the race.
Yeah.
Because I've tried to race on hard tire and it doesn't work.
Well, and then, the other side is just cost. Somebody steals that stuff. It's not easy to, file a report, and your insurance is going to be like whatever, so It's hard. And then, obviously then all the time it takes to do that. Carl Steamy here says, dragging the trailer this year, car Tetris is bullshit.
Yes, for sure.
Yep.
I mean, think about the cost. I mean, between my billet specialties with the beadlock conversion and a set of tires, dude, there's probably $2,500 or $3,000 in 2 wheels.
Yeah. And who the hell wants to try and figure that stuff out at 2 a.m. or, well, I guess, you're going to figure it out at 8 a.m. when you get to the trailer, 6 a.m. when you get to the trailer and it's gone. Now you're going to spend 2 hours trying to figure it out, and you're on the phone trying to find new wheels and tires by the time you get to the track. So,
Yeah. And I mean, everything's locked up and cabled, but an enclosed trailer would be so much better.
Yep. We're open trailer this year.
Yeah.
And stacking it. So it's going to be interesting. I'm really excited to not have to mess with, because the 31s we typically run on the car, they're like 80 pounds a piece with the wheel. And we were throwing those things on the roof.
Oh, that's a hernia waiting to happen.
Oh God, it was brutal. And then, because I didn't think about, with everything loaded down, the back of the car squats, because it's not used to that kind of weight. And so we would rub. So we were driving on the short tires that we were racing on, so I had 31s on the front and these little bitty, 27-inch tires on the back. It looks so dumb, but I think it added to it too. And then we're, rolling down the road and got tires on the roof and shit everywhere. And anyways, we're not doing that this year.
I've seen multiple people say we look like the Clampids or forgot what that other the Beverly Hillbillies and stuff with the awning on top of the trailer. And
oh yeah, yep, I can only imagine. So Carl says, how do you anti-theft your trailer? I assume a cable through the wheels. Need a few ideas.
So I had a pretty big cable going through it, and I mean, I run, everything's locked up on the trailer, but you can see it on my open trailer. But I mean, if somebody wanted to, if somebody wanted to do it, there'd be a way to do it. I mean, it doesn't matter how many cables you had on there. Last
Well-
year I didn't have it. We haven't had any issues. I mean,
Yep.
the Jeep's open. Last year we had a soft top on it. We're very blessed that nothing has messed with. I have heard people have issues.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, you think about it, like there's a group of us in just about every parking lot within a 10-mile radius that are out drinking beer, conversating, so like people pulling through, don't make it easy on somebody to steal your shit.
Yes, if you make them have to work for it.
Yeah. Cause that may give you the 3 minutes of them dicking around with the trailer and then they see a light come on, they run off,
Right.
Zach asked, maybe I missed it. How did the ice breezy work out? Oh yeah, you had the ice breezy cooler, right?
I had that ice breezy cooler. If we kept ice in it, it kicked ass. Oh, pardon my language. It kicked butt. It's really
it's okay to talk like big boys here.
The hose. If you had the hose blowing on you, it was pretty good. It didn't cool the whole Jeep off, but for one, the cage getting so hot kind of handicapped the AC. But it made a big difference.
That's awesome. And then Carl's talking about we have security at this year at some hotels, and that is true. I've seen that posted a couple different times.
Yep.
But it'll be with the whatever host hotel race week set up. So I mean,
so I think he had Pablo. Ain't that what his name on Facebook is? Pablo Escobar. Yeah. So he was doing security at Malta. I mean, he was basically hired to do security, and I don't know if he caught anybody or anything, but I know he was patrolling.
Yeah, that's and again, that'll keep a lot of people away.
Yeah.
And then the other benefit too is we're in town one night, and we don't get a lot of. I mean, there were times. So I tried to put a video out every day last year for race week, and that's my plan again this year. So we would get to the hotel. The track would close. We would drive to the hotel, get checked in. I'd set up and I'd edit a video just trying to get something out that night. And so I'd be up till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning every night. But like, you're not getting to the hotel till midnight, unless like you guys where you're one and done, but me, I'm up there, I'm doing idiot burnouts and like dumb shit the whole time and talking to everybody. And, we like the track closes and we're like, damn, okay, I guess we got to leave now. Then I'm trying to find somewhere to eat.
So we didn't, I'm pretty surprised. I mean, out of both of these events I've done, I don't think I've really screwed around. I've been too worried. I think I got on it one time at one of the checkpoints last year and kind of did a little burnout with the trailer on it, but never. Yeah.
Well,
it gets out of hand pretty easy.
Well, and I was going to say, and you fast guys don't have anything to prove. Me, like in this cart, dude, it has a rear tire sprayer. Like that's all we do. It's just dumb shit. So
I hate cleaning up the rubber.
Oh, we don't ever do any of that. So it just adds, it's sound deadening at this point.
Right. Insulation.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, all right. Well, dude, I think I'm fixing to back this little trailer in and work on some more of the wiring and get it all ready. So
I appreciate it.
I do want to say,
be on there.
Oh man, it was a blast. And if I get to 1.0 next year, we're gonna hang out whether you
look
want
us
to
up.
or not.
Oh, look us up.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I keep trying to get the wife to head towards the mountains for our family vacation, but I think I'm going to have to do 2 family vacations a year to be able to get her to go to the mountains. So,
yeah, and if we make it that way, we'll look you up.
Hey, listen, you end up in Arkansas. You'll be tired of my ass.
So our buddies that are wanting to move, good friends too, that's part of where they're looking at too. Yeah. So we're like, we just want something different. Colorado, I mean, I love it here, but really the only thing left here is our grandbaby and the kids, and one of the kids, and the other one will probably go with us.
So here's the thing: life is really short in the big scheme of things. You get about a 60-year window of being a good adult. You might as well make the best of it.
Yeah, that's what we're looking to start doing more stuff instead of just beating the bush just to do that, and it's ready to make a change.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. Well, hey, I will tell you this. We would love to have you guys in Northwest Arkansas or anywhere even close
in
this area. And we'll do anything we can to help move that needle that way. And you just reach out with anything. I don't care. I'll introduce you to people I don't even know.
That's awesome.
Uh-oh. Jimmy's asking, what am I, chopped liver?
Oh, so we've been telling them too to come with us.
Yeah.
He's got his granddaughters. That's the thing too, is the grandkids.
Yep. Well, I mean, I can't imagine. I'm ready to have some grandkids of my own, but I hope it's at least 10 or 15 years.
Yes.
Before I have any grandkids. So
right. They're a hoot. So
yep. All right. Well, stay with me. I'm going to close this out, and then we'll talk for just a second. I know you're tired of talking to me, but all right.
Oh, no, you're good.
If y'all haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do that. We're Rocky Mountain Race Week podcast live feeds every week until race week, and then I'm going to drop a video or live feed every day from at least the track or the route. So, all right, that's all. That's my spiel. Please listen to us. Thanks. Bye.